I once nearly dated a man. I called it Friendset Kiss, and he latched onto those words until I started hearing it from other mouths that I did in fact not kiss, butchered and bloody in their ironic voices. It was during the summer I got 50 mosquito bites on my legs from standing in the humid Texas rain, and I spent weeks thinking I had malaria inside my diseased-looking skin. One night I got a text from him saying, "I miss you," and then laughing at the absurdity of saying that to a stranger. "But you don't know me," I wrote, and then I deleted it, and instead wrote, "I miss you too," because I was hungry, a gnawing ever-present pain of wanting to be seen for once and being chosen. It was years of screen-fed romances where the relationships are electric and you can find someone in a crowded city just by pure love and kismet. Everything after that message kind of blurs together because moments like these are seldom built to last, and you know there's a kind of debt that runs out. As soon as it started, it was already ending. You speedrun entire experiences and years of close intimacy because there's no time when you're not serious about anything. One day you're shaking hands, and then the next you're renting a hotel room just to try to understand someone that never asks you any questions. No dinner, skip the drinks, go to the part where they're crying and talking about how bad childhood trauma really ruined all possibility of having healthy and meaningful connections. I would drive to the middle of nowhere, nearing the panhandle just to smoke a cigarette and lay down in twin-sized beds pushed together, looking at the blade of a ceiling fan eternally spinning as the silence lingered beyond the trees. Was it for the story, for the warmth I needed reflected back at me? The thing is, being there was like being suspended in time. The nearest major city was miles away, and standing in that solitude with only another person beside you really felt like coming to the end of the world and realizing there was nothing to be afraid of. I mean, I could trick myself into believing this was going to work out if only I said and did the right things, and I'm sure he thought that too. Every question was a test, every action waiting for a reaction that needed to be just the one he was looking for, and maybe along the way I failed too many. Maybe I should have noticed something was wrong when his cat was always biting him on the ass. Maybe it should have been when he broke my bed, and the splintered wood sat on the corner of my room for days like a mutilated body, waiting to be recognizable again until it was thrown away by the side of the road, neither of us addressing it as we walked past it. Just a kind of shame that was not mine to hold, but I held it anyway. Perhaps ideals are terrible substitutes for real people, and you'll believe anything that keeps your doubts at bay because that friend tells you that he's actually sweet on you, even though he keeps coming to your home at night talking about the open wound he keeps habitually licking from the woman that broke his heart years ago, and why labels are actually not really his thing, and that expecting accountability is a total turnoff. But you say, yes, I don't need anything. Expectations are for old married couples who have had the excitement squeezed out of their brains, and you keep wanting to believe it as he lets you buy him food and complain about how he would have been a good therapist if school wasn't for chumps. And then, of course, the unraveling of the fantasy hitting reality, the inability to keep the moment of something that was never a commitment traveling at light speed to slap me in the face and say, "I told you so." And that was the thing about all of it, the intensity I carried within myself that spilled out like ooze into everything I touched, and the predatory men who mistook it for devotion for them instead of an obsession with anything that made me feel good because they think it's cool to have that poured into them. It's artistic and poetic and strange until it's not. I was an entertainment, a fire they were more than willing to watch, but quickly running away in tears whenever they started getting burnt. My depth was suddenly out of their reach, and now it was time for that "I think you were better in my head" conversations to begin. The romance was now sauntering, an old fish rotting, begging to be thrown back, but not before that moment. We're outside my front door on the porch, and I'm sitting down smoking while listening to him talk about all the obscure music he loves and the pseudo-talk about how you never really know someone, and he's facing me as he starts walking back and missing that solitary step behind him. And for a second he falters. He loses his balance, and it's awkward. His eyes go wide and his hands come out of his pockets, and he almost falls, but he doesn't, and it's more embarrassing than if he had fallen. He can't pick up his words the way he wants to, tripping over the script that was rehearsed 1,000 times in front of nameless faces, and instead of laughing, there's just clumsiness. An attempt of going back to where we were before it happened, but the mask slipped, and it reminded me of my own, a fear of the emptiness behind all of it, the sworn secrecy that interfered with the kind of truth I was yearning for. I wanted to hold him by the hand and tell him, "Hey, it's okay, let's start over." But the moment was over. The whole thing was over. It was harder to act after that. Pretending to care just didn't have the same flavor anymore, and so he started walking back and then away. The last time we spoke, he said something along the lines of, "Let's keep it between us." It was as if we had committed some grand crime, and safety was contingent on seeing nothing and saying nothing. But it was really cowardice disguised as nonchalance. And then his final words of, "I hope you don't think of me as the one who got away," and finally hearing the regurgitated cliches, half cunning and swollen as they try to pry out a feeling one last time. And the thing was that after all of the gaslighting, it felt like a voyeur that got caught, but waiting for me to conjure up all the apologies for having left myself vulnerable. I think about it now, and I know no one can get away. You can only get away from yourself, and the task is combining your body with your soul as if they had always belonged together. Since then, I don't idolize anymore. I'm not the laid-back, devil-may-care kind of girl. I'm opinionated and angry, and there's no room anymore for confusion. And so the real romance now comes from how impossible it is for someone to manipulate me. I can only be known, and that can be off-putting, because to to know someone requires taking the entire person as they are, with their ugly needs and their mediocrity and the attention required to love the tenderness, as well as the things that make you recoil in disgust. I'm not a face in the crowd looking for the spotlight to finally hit her glowing eyes. I revel in the ordinary, in the knowledge that I am less a target for men who weaponize sensitivity as if it absolves them from the pain they create. Do not watch me because I am already looking at you.